$1,000 a pop, and who knows how many movies they were working on for these particular individuals. But they're not cheap. But there's a difference between a general surgeon and a neurosurgeon. Put it that way. You get the best. You get what you pay for.
Okay. All right. So, and let me ask you this. So you've dealt with a lot of independent.
Yeah,
Let me
my
wait, let me take it back a second. Let me take it back a second. I want you to tell me what was it like, and how did you? I know you in the beginning you was talking about Norman Rockwell. I'm very fascinated with that story, and I want to go back to that. I wanted to know, how did you get to that event of being picked? What steps happened before Norman
well
Rockwell? Like,
again,
tell the audience before you answer that. Tell the audience who you are. Walk them through your experience and share with them how the steps of your journey. Like, I went here, this block one, this first block, I seen this, I met this, tell them the process of what you went through.
well, I can give them the quick story, but I can't give them the dates and times
No,
because I
that's
had a
fine.
serious brain injury and I don't remember a lot of stuff from the past. Yet something
Right.
will pop up I remember 20 years ago, but that's something I live with. And the fact is that I always, first of all, I always had encouragement from my family, all my family,
Mm.
not just my mother and father and my twin sister, everybody. They
Oh,
just
you had a
were
twin.
on
Okay.
board with me. Yeah, I had a twin sister who unfortunately did pass away from breast cancer, but we were
Sorry to hear
very
that.
well connected, and it's been a long time now. But the fact is that I had a good set of parents that loved me, that treated me decent as a child and helped me to grow on my own in regards to spread my wings, doing things that I would not normally want to do or that kind of thing. But they gave me permission to experiment in my life, and I wasn't afraid to go forward. So that's how that developed my confidence level that what you think you can do. It just takes
Gotcha.
time, and it may take a long time. Uh, Worked on a project uh, that took place in, would have taken place on Broadway production, but that
Right.
went south. All right. I'm, I'm hearing music. Are you going to commercial?
No, 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 no. Just put in a little introduction. We're recording now, so ladies and gentlemen, we had technical difficulties just a few minutes ago, so we're back on track. Producers took care of it, so we're okay now. Um, no, but continue with your story. I mean, you can hear music. That's the introduction to the show. Again, so tell the audience about how you met the ladies. I know this is taking, because guys, I've been known Randy for quite some time now, and I'm not trying to go all over the place with the conversation, but I'm just fascinated with him because he's had 37 years of experience in the entertainment business, and it's not just about entertainment. Life emulates entertainment emulates life, and I think it's wonderful to hear some of the stories he conveys to us and share with us. And I just want him to explain and share the story of with his grandson when he went to the fair, because I think that's very important, and I think that kind of sums it all up to how your life has taken you on that journey. But you also have a special gift that a lot of people don't know about. So if it's okay with you to share that, I think it's inspirational, especially in the time we're in.
Yeah. Don't I don't poo-poo that. It's very seldom I talk about it because it's such a highly personal uh, journey and experience that most people wouldn't believe it at all. And sometimes I didn't even believe it. But it's happened to me. I've always been very perceptive about things. and would have knowledgeable thoughts for people that I was talking to and share it with them. And they'd come back to me in a certain length of time, said, "How did you know that? How did you know that was going to happen? It happened exactly the way you said." I said, "Oh, it did?" Being surprised because I was new at it and didn't realize it. And then I think what brought it to the head was when I fell off an 8-story building and lived
Oh
on
wow.
one floor before I hit the ground. I knew that God had a reason for me being here.
So wait a minute.
And
You
yeah,
describe that feeling, how it happened, and then you actually hit the ground. You physically
no,
hit
I
the ground.
didn't hit the ground. No, I was caught one story before the concrete slab at the bottom of the ground that I would have hit. All right. And the way that happened, we were remodeling a hotel in San Diego, California. And the downtown area, the hotels are very close together. And there was a walkway across that hotel that looked solid with a tile and everything on it, and it looked solid. Well, I stepped on it, and it was all rotted out. I fell right through, going about 60 miles an hour, and knowing that
Oh
all I could think about, I wasn't thinking about my family, I wasn't thinking about anything else, but but the only thing I thought, this is going to hurt. Make it
oh
fast.
wow.
This is going to hurt. And as the speed picked up, and I may exaggerate a little. I apologize for that. I don't have a meter on me, but it felt like it was going about 30 miles an hour as fast as it could, and I was going to
Wow.
hit soon. And something told me to take my right foot and reach towards the other building. We were about 2 yards from the second building next to us. And I did, and when I did, I hit a pipe coming out, and that stopped me dead in my tracks. Didn't make me feel good, didn't help my back, didn't help my head, because I bounced off both walls like it was in an alleyway. And
Wow.
that's where I got the brain problem from. But once I put my foot on that pipe, and a voice said to me, put your foot down on that pipe. But that quick. I saw it. I looked at it as a pipe, put my foot on it, stopped me dead. One floor before I would have hit concrete. That was the
Wow.
good Lord taking care of me. So I'm not ready for you yet, Randy. Is basically what he was telling me. So I've had a spiritual journey in my life and never forgotten it. And I did come to Jesus on a telethon sponsored by Billy Graham, and I was 16 years old. I fell to
Wow.
my knees
16.
and went nuts. And well, my parents looked at me like I was, and I gave myself to Christ. Uh, Little
Okay.
did I know that years later I would be advanced coordinator for Billy Graham Crusades.
Really?
Now, that's my life has been an impossible journey, but it's happened. All right,
So
that's all I can
so
say.
so tell the people when you went to the fair with your grandson, what did he
Well,
experience with you?
what happened was I was sitting in my home back in New York, and they live in Syracuse, and a commercial come on about a psychic fair. And I said,
Okay.
well, that's interesting. I've never been to a psychic fair. I don't even know what that's all about. I'd be interested in going to that. Well, I was going up to my daughter's house, and I mentioned it to my grandson. And he says, "Oh, Grandpa, I've been wanting to go there. Will you take me? Will you take me?" I said, "Sure, why not? I've never been there. Let's go." So we got in the car. 15, 20 minutes, we're at the psychic fair. We walk in, and we're walking around, and he's seeing all these things that happen. People X-raying you and seeing the aura around your hand and that kind of stuff. And that wasn't my big deal. I walked over to this table and I kept staring at this woman. And her friend, which was working with her, was sitting right next to her on these tall stools. She walked
Okay.
over to me and she goes, "Can I help you?" And I looked at her. My grandson's standing next to me. And my grandson looked at her and then looked at me. And I said, "Did you just go through?" Now I'm talking like I've known her forever. "Did you just go through a divorce?" And she looked over at her friend, and her friend, Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
And
wow.
I said, "You're dealing with a money issue with your husband, aren't you?" She looked back over at her friend. My
Yeah.
grandfather sitting there trying to jack up his chin because it's wide open and I didn't want the flies. And he's just staring me down like, what? And just like nudging me like, can we get out of here? You're embarrassing me. And I told her, he's got a lot of money. Was he mob connected? She goes, oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God. Yes, he was.
Wow.
And you can't find the money, but you know he's got it. She goes, oh my God. Oh my God. Yes. I said, it's in Las Vegas. I says, it's a story unit. And what was the number I gave you? Because they
Oh,
had that same number somewhere.
yes,
Something else?
ladies and gentlemen, this number, I kid you not. Randy and I, when I tell you this, we didn't know each other prior to this story or anything like that. And when he told me the story for the first time and the number he put, it matched the number that in one of my social media username that I put in there because I was always fascinated with this number. But let me get back to it. It was 369.
And so I gave you the number. All right. And then 3 months went by and I didn't see her at all. And I'm sitting at my desk in my upper stairs room and I get a phone call and it's her. And she goes, Randy, you're not going to believe this. I said, what, that you found the money? She said, yes, all of it.
Wow.
And I said, okay. She says, how did you know? I said, don't even go there. I can't answer it. I said, through the grace of God, so go I. That's all I can think of. I, and she said, thank you, thank you, thank you. We hung up and never talked to her ever again.
Her mouth must have been dropping when she found it with her friend or by herself, whatever happened. And
I
then
don't know
she
who was
got,
with her when she found it, but she even
uh,
had the key. I don't know if she found the key first to know
right,
what storage unit it was at. There's a lot of storage units in Las Vegas.
right.
And
No, but you told her.
that was
You
the one
told
on the
her.
key, and that's what opened the door.
Right. You told her. You told her exactly no, you did tell her the name of the storage company. He did say
But then I guess she found the key to open the door in the house.
right. Well, she
What
probably
was the
had it
odds
in the
of
house.
that? A million to one?
Million and one. You better luck winning the lottery than I mean, ladies and gentlemen, how can you I mean, that is something. Like, how can you? It's just unheard of. It's like something you would see in a movie. You write it down and plan it out. But like, this is amazing. He out of nowhere, his grandson is with him at this festival, sitting there listening to his grandfather, and with his mouth dropping, like, Are you serious,
He's
Randy?"
standing there like he just like a deer in headlights, right?
Oh my
His mouth
God.
We get outside and we're standing at the end of the curb to go get in the car, and he goes, "Oh, Grandpa, I can't believe it." And I turned to him and said, "Son, you don't know the half of what your grandfather's about." And I left it at that.
Well,
So that's how we come up. It was segue right in how we met. All right.
right, exactly.
All right. That's good you brought that up. I'm glad to talk about it. And I said to my grandson, you have so much to learn about your grandfather. You don't even know half of
Well,
it. Okay.
it's interesting you say that because a lot of times um, I've experienced some of the things that Randy experienced, and when he tells stories like this, I get like a little kid in a candy store. Like I think it's Christmas time because at Christmas time you hear miracles happen, which they do. So to hear stuff like this is, I want you guys out there to experience this story because it's breathtaking and it's inspirational and it's wonderful. It's something positive for a change. The world is kind of negative right now, so we need stories like this to uplift us and you know get us get us going on a positive level. But no, Randy, continue with your stories. I mean, what about the time you were with your I think your friend or something? You were in a house, and this one was a kind of a supernatural experience and really scary. But I think you should share with the audience, let
Oh,
them
all
know. I
right.
mean,
Well, uh, in my younger years, in my
yeah.
late teens, I got a job doing those quick sketches with pastels at a place called Fantasy Island, just out in Grand Island, New York.
Fantasy Island, the plane. You remember that guy in the Fantasy Island show, and he was a little midget, and he's
Yeah,
the plane.
we refer to that too. All right. But the fact is, um, I met this woman, and she was a female clown on the site, and we just hit it off right away, and I started we started talking, and I said, "You got something going on, and I want to explain it to you, but I want to sit somewhere where we're not being interrupted because we're working right now, and I don't want to talk to you while I'm looking at a clown. All right." So she said, "Well, why don't you come over to my place on Grand Island, New York, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from Niagara Falls. It's just, it's it's a island in the middle of the two falls, put it that way." And I went over and had dinner with her, and I find out that the house was owned by a televangelist who is out of town on a tour, and so
What are the odds
she
of
you
that?
can't make this up. She no, you can't make this up. And I said, "Really? Okay." And I said, "I got some things to tell you. You feel comfortable here?" And she says, "No, let's go up in my bedroom. It's quiet if anybody comes to the door, and they won't interrupt us." And I said, "Oh, okay." Well, we went up there, and so I didn't know what's going on. And she invited me to her bedroom. I'm going, "Okay, what did I get myself into? Uh, just don't put your clown outfit on. I'm not going to like looking at a clown." Uh, so, so you got to make fun of this stuff because it gets so serious. All right. So we go in there, and things start coming through, and we're feeling this heavy, heavy, heavy evil force to the point where I've never been fearful to the point where I'm ready to pee my pants, and I was. Pardon the pun
Wow.
there. Uh, and I picked up the Bible, which was we're sitting on the side of the bed, and what?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, there's some noise going on. Maybe the devil made you do that. I don't know. But the fact is that I grabbed this Bible.
Yeah, it's my sound effects. I'm doing it as you're telling a joke. So go ahead, Randy.
And the Bible physically was pulled out of my hand across the room.
Wait, so let me get this straight. All right, guys, this is the interesting part. So you're telling me you went in the room with the clown lady, I'll call it because I don't know her name.
Yeah, color.
And
Yeah, the name was Mary Jane, but that's you
oh,
can call her Mary
all right, you
Jane.
clown lady goes in with Randy into her room, and they're in there talking. Next thing you know, he touches the Bible, and you felt the room. Explain the atmosphere. Explain what you felt as you
Probably
walk
the biggest form of evil I would ever.
Really?
I haven't encountered that kind of evil ever. I
And
mean, I literally almost peed my pants.
let me ask you a question. The atmosphere in that room, what was it like? The
It was
atmosphere
very
was it?
heavy. It felt like you were choking or not being able to catch your breath. It felt like the air was going out of the room.
So it felt really, did it feel cold or did it feel
Yes, cold too. Yes, yes.
cold? Okay. So and you felt chills down your spine, is what you're saying.
It just felt very cold, like you were in an air conditioned room and it wasn't air conditioned at the time. I mean, it wasn't turned on or anything, but it got very, very cold, severely cold.
Now, who owned the house or who lived in the house?
The
He was
televangelist that was out of town on a tour.
an evangelist, ladies and gentlemen. And an evangelist, can you describe for people out there who don't know what an evangelist is? Who is that?
Well, it's like Billy Graham, a televangelist who talked on TV about God.
Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make this up. You really can't make this up.
Well,
You
again,
know,
people can believe it or not believe it, and I just have learned in my life that life is a phenomenal journey, and it's not all believable. But when it happens to you, you don't not believe it. It happened to you, and that's the way you got to take it. And whether other people think you're full of doo doo, don't care. I'm too old to worry about it. You can think I'm nuts. You can think what you want. I don't care. I'm passing on a situation that happened in my life, and believe it or don't believe it. If not, I'm giving you a great story, right? That's the way I look at it. I don't care if you believe it, right? But I hope that something hits your soul that makes you want to believe in something other than some of the mundane things that happen in people's lives that they think are important. So anyway, we walked down the hallway, and next to the stairwell at the right, there's a big door from the ceiling coming down in a cubicle under this cubicle, which was 3 feet by 3 feet, was a door, and we opened the door, and we hid in that cubicle, which had a slanted roof behind where we laid our head and our backs. And we were both very, very scared. I mean,
wow.
the worst kind of fear I have experienced in my life, and almost being killed 3 times uh, makes you realize what that feels like. But this was one of the worst as far as an association with an evil spirit, put it that way, or what people call Satan, the negative part of the universe.
So
And
pretty
and what happened was I had the Bible in
right.
my hand, holding it, praying, and the Bible flew out and opened the door. Boom! Hit the door flew open, and we ran down the stairs and ran out of that house. Over with.
So the Bible, you had it in your hand,
What?
catapulted off your hand, hit the door, bang, and the door
Well,
popped open.
again, in her room,
Yes,
flew off my hand. As we're
right.
reading it, hit the door, and I picked it up going out the door, so we had it. I don't even remember
And
picking it up, but I had it in my hand under that cubicle thing or whatever that damn
right,
thing's
right.
called.
And it
Excuse my
flew
French.
out of your hand, hit the door, and the door popped open. You guys left the room, correct?
We left the room, and dumb her, she tells the minister when she comes home about what happened, and he didn't believe a word of it, and said some very negative things, and that's okay. I'm used to hearing that. But when something unbelievable happens to you, nobody's going to say you didn't see it or you didn't experience it. That is part of what you're going through in your personal life. They don't have to believe it.
Well,
If they
here's the
don't,
thing.
fine, go on with your life.
Here's the
That's why
thing.
I don't.
Let me,
This is the first time I've discussed this openly with anyone, let alone on a radio show. All right.
well,
But I'm 87 years old. What do I care? I've lived a good life. I had a beautiful life. What do I care if you like me, you don't like me, or think I'm full of doo doo? I don't care. Either you listen to it and you get value out of it, or go your own way and say, why do you even have him on the show?
did you even see a Bible in that house when you got there?
No, the Bible was in her room. It
So
was
the
sitting
Bible
on her
was.
dresser as we sat on the edge of the bed, and I
So
picked it
wait,
up automatically.
you picked up the Bible. Okay, you picked it up. Okay,
But see,
and
I
then
didn't
next
know
thing.
he was a televangelist on tour until later. I didn't
Right,
even
right,
know he
right.
went there.
Right, but the
Okay.
Bible was in her room. Let me understand
Right.
this correct. I'm trying to follow this. And you were there reading. Next thing you know, the room gets cold and everything starts happening. And the Bible flies out of your hand, hits the
Yeah. No,
door.
we didn't even get to read the Bible. We picked it up and we're going
Yeah.
to proceed to read it, and it flew right out of my hands. Jerked right out of my hands. Not that
Wow.
I threw it over there. I was looking at her, and the door to her room was behind my right shoulder, and it flew
What
out of my hand over to the door.
what if I was to tell you that the evil spirit, it's going to sound strange, ladies and gentlemen, but just walk, I'm going to walk you through it and just listen to this. Picture yourself arguing with a person. The person sees you have something in your hand and just to piss you off, pulls it out of your hand and throws it across the room. That's usually typically what a confrontation would be with a normal two human beings arguing. I've seen that. So what I'm saying to you, Randy, is it's a possibility the evil spirit said, "Oh no, you're not reading this here. Get this thing out of here." Took the Bible, chuck it against the door, and pretty much was saying, "Get the heck out of the room, or get the hell out of the
Well,
room."
I think he was trying to convey the fact that he was real and existed.
Right, right.
Because unless
That
you
too.
went through that kind of mental trauma, you would never believe anybody telling you what I just said now. You just would.
Well,
You'd have to be there to experience it.
yeah, but I think people nowadays have heard so many stories. Some you believe, some can be embellished, some is made up. I'm not going to lie. But the truth is the truth. I mean, there's
Well,
things out
again,
here that we don't know about.
we are more sophisticated now. We have more knowledge than we've ever had. This was
Right.
back. That was. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to think. I was 19 then. All right, so that was 19 years after I was born. I was 19 years old when that was going on, and I'm in my, going on into my 80s. So that was a long time ago, but that was not the first element that happened while I worked at the amusement park. The
Wow.
second, the second one was we had five artists and we did quick sketches in charcoal or pastel, whichever the customer wanted. And we had seven artists, and I was one of the seven. And these three ladies walk up to our tent, which had a fence around it, sort of like a 2x4 fence, not filled in, just the crossbar and the two or three sidebars going down. And they walked up to me and they looked at me very quiet, nothing unpretentious about them. They were in their elderly age. And the one touched my shoulder and said, uh, "Would you do us a favor?" And I said, "What?" Now, the other artists were sitting around painting other people or drawing other people.
Right.
And I'm thinking they're seeing everything going on. And so, will you lay on the crossbar here? And I did. For some reason, I just went along with it. I had no reason to do that, but I did it. And she puts her hand on my stomach and feels on my left hand side, and I feel a warm tingling go through my body. And she stops. They look at each other, and they walk away. Now, people are walking past us because it was a very crowded amusement park, wall to wall people. But nobody looked over at us like they were seeing what was going on, me laying on this bench, this bar, you know,
Right.
this, you know, partition between the artists and the people walking. And I got up and I went, "Oh my God." And I said to this one artist, very, very famous now, wildlife artist, I said, "Nick, did you see that?" He goes, "See what?" And then I said, "Janet, did you see that?" "See what?" None of them saw what was going on.
So
And I
these
never
ladies
found
didn't.
out what that meant, whether I was sick and they healed me or whether or not something was wrong with me and I'm going to find out someday. I don't know. But that happened.
So she
Now, how do you
touched you.
explain that?
She touched you. Looked at her friend, gave each other a nod, and walked away. That's
That
what
was
you're
it.
saying, right?
End of the whole 9 yards. It made no sense
Interesting.
whatsoever. None whatsoever.
Interesting.
And
That could have been your
I
guardian
never got
angels.
a
You
third
didn't know
piece of that
that.
story, did I?
No, you never did. That could have been your guardian angel. You never know.
Well, again, they have been around me, and that's why I believe them. And the reason I joined the church I did was that I was pulled into that church by guardian angels, and they've always been with me. That's why I believe in them. And when I
Wow.
found out that the church believed in prophets and saints and all that. I said, I want to go to that church. It literally pulled me into that church. And when that happened,
That's
my
that's the
son that
church
was
you.
missing, yeah, my son was missing for 20 years, and he went to France and disappeared. We didn't know if he was
Wow.
dead or alive. 3 days after I took my communion in that church, they found my son, and Interpol called me in France and told me they found his body. What are the odds to that?
That you
How do
can't
you
make this
explain
up.
that stuff? You have to open up your mind and not be fanatical, but weigh things that are far beyond our knowledge. The universe is billions of years old. There has to be elements of life far beyond how we think. We're like little amoebas or little ants compared to life surrounding our universe. And I'm sure it's there. I can't prove it. But the
Right.
reason I don't poo-poo it is show it to me and I'll believe it. If it's not shown to me, I will still listen to other people's ideas about it so that I can formulate a concept that could be believable, but seeing is believing. If I saw it, you'd never tell me you'll never say I won't believe in flying saucers because I won't. See what I mean?
Right.
And that makes me sound crazy just talking about it right now. The governments of the world know a lot more than we know. And because of that, their perception was that it would create a mass panic throughout the world. And that's why it was not let out. No, it wasn't let out because had they wanted to destroy us, they were thousands of years beyond us, and they could destroy us as human beings without touching the infrastructure and have a planet to live on that would be safe and sound to move right on.
So, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's take down the rabbit hole. So, all this spiritual stuff happened. Would you say this spiritual journey that you've been going through as a kid from 14 years old led you to Norman Rockwell? Let's get into
I
that. Norman.
well, that's a, a you're right, but it's a different way to put it. I believe that my destiny, and if you don't believe in predestined, then let it happen to you, and you won't not believe it. My life was predestined to happen a certain way, and it's played out exactly the way it was supposed to. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's progressed me further in my life, not slow me down or put me in a hole where I was afraid to move forward. So my life, to me, had meaning and has meaning far beyond what I can understand, but I don't fear. I live my
That's
life. I'm not afraid to live my life.
that's amazing.
A lot of people are, and they're
So,
afraid
would you?
because they're insecure, and they're very the insecurity holds them back. It's called
What
fear
if I was?
scientifically.
What if I was to tell you that the two ladies, when they touched you, they implanted your destiny and you didn't know that? This is all hypothetical, ladies and gentlemen, and for entertainment purposes. But what if that was the case and when you felt that tingly vibration, they looked at each other, nodded, and said, yeah, this is going to happen? And Norman Rockwell was placed in your journey as well as all the other characters in your movie. So go ahead. So you, because you didn't know, was it a contest? Was it a drawing that you got into
Well,
with
it
Norman
was
Rockwell, or?
basically like a come draw me type of situation, and
Okay.
it was worldwide, and
Yeah.
they were searching for new talent, and 17,000 people worldwide. That was a very Saturday Evening Post was a very dynamic magazine at that time. Everybody read it,
Okay.
and it was
Is it-
distributed,
What? Okay.
and so they got 17,000 hits, and the six of us got chosen out of
That is
17,000 people.
17,000 people, ladies and gentlemen. And Randy Hillman gets chosen out of 17,000 people. And that's not just domestic, that's around the world, ladies and gentlemen. Who how and again, call it coincidence or do you call it destiny? You people be the
Well,
judge of that.
I personally call it destiny because from that point on, I was introduced to people that moved my career forward exponentially to a point that you cannot believe my life and how I live and the people I've met and the people that everyone knows because they're in the paper all the time or they're on magazine covers. I know these people, and it's coming from a uh, a low income housing project to meeting four presidents of the United States, working with one building houses and working with the others on other projects, as well as working with Barbara Bush on a fundraiser. My sister died of breast cancer, and Barbara Bush worked with me on that. I got a proclamation from George Bush, signed by him, not in an ink pen that's electronic, but his signature, a proclamation for that event from Barbara Bush. She had her son sign.
Wow.
What are the odds of that? I going from going from a very uneducated, poor environment to working with some of the biggest people in the world on an international scale. You can't make this up.
No, you can't. You really can't. And I tell you, it's been a wild ride for you ever since you were 14 with all those experiences. So, okay, you got picked for Norman Rockwell. Tell everybody out there, what was it like to be with the famous Norman Rockwell, ladies and gentlemen? Can you imagine a person
his whole
you
persona, yeah, Norm's whole persona was one of being very shy and very aloof. He wasn't like that. All right,
look
he
at
was
that. Wasn't
very
your dad
funny,
like that?
but he had a dry humor.
Ah, okay, dry humor. All right. All right. So,
And he was serious when he said it. It was so funny you couldn't help but laugh. He had
well, let me
pictures all day.
well, let me ask you this, and I got to ask this. When he saw you for the first time and you walk into his classroom or his rooms, whatever, and he made eye contact with you, did he felt like he knew you from before?
Well, here's the deal. All the time, the six of us was sitting on his bench that overlooked the window. And it was a bench that you could sit on. He
Right.
was standing up. He'd always look at me first, and then look at everybody else, and he'd look back at me. He was always
Yes.
looking at me, and I couldn't figure that out. 'Cause
Yes.
I thought to myself, well, he's looking at them too. Nobody, he kept focusing and looking at me, and I thought that was weird. I didn't get
You thought,
that really happened.
well, the reason why I say that is because for a minute there, I saw you guys sitting on the benches, the six of you, and he's giving his speech or his lecture, and he starts by glancing at you very attentively, and then he looks later at the rest of the guys or girls, whoever. But it's just interesting because I don't know. I have this feeling or this intuition that some of the things that happen in your life and the encounters you have with certain people, it's almost as if they knew in a spiritual way you were supposed to meet them. I don't know how to explain it, but
Well, I think a lot of people in entertainment or in a high level field of business have that feeling about themselves. They have that aura feeling around them that something's guiding them or motivating them. I think it's
yes,
inbred in them. I believe that.
yes. No, because it has happened to me. I've had that experience with that you have experienced. And when I hear Randy talks about this, it brings me back to some of my experience along my journey, and it's just wonderful to hear because I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it feels like you're going crazy. And then you think you're losing your mind when you're seeing these things, but no, it's real. And to have somebody else experience something similar, it's really refreshing to see. So I just wanted to put that in
Well,
there. But
I've taken up all this time. Why don't you tell your uh, audience how we met? You share the story with them.
well, again, I don't, it's weird. I don't really remember specifics of how we met. because we've met through my radio show when I first started the podcast. It was the other podcast, Make That Bloody Movie with Coffee. What's your coffee of the day, ladies? But that's how Randy and I met. He listened to one of my podcasts. He found me on Facebook, and we talked here and there and stuff, but never really connect. But we did have conversations. It was when, and it was weird. It was
Well,
when,
what I did was ask you for that clip, and you
yes,
sent it to me, and I went, "Oh my God, he's not
yes,
saying a thing." And you didn't know that I look at actors without dialogue to see their body language and that they can convey issues, positive, negative, or whatever, without verbal commitment. And you did a scene that lasted a blurb, and there was no sound to it. And I said, "Oh my God, he's telling me exactly what he's about. Oh my God, this guy's good." And then I called you. And I said, "You're
yes,
going
you
to think I'm
did.
crazy, but this is what went on." And I told you
He,
what I saw. And we've been friends ever since.
yes, he has. Yeah, it was, and actually the clip was from Nightfall. My partner and I, we produced it. And yes, it was a clip where I come out of the airport as Jack Walker. And that's when Randy called me out of the blue, clear blue sky. And we connected. And from there, we've been friends ever since. And you can't make this up, I tell you. It's, but no, but please, that to add to that story. So you went from experiencing Norman Rockwell, which you couldn't believe, the man
I
you
love,
looked
yeah.
up to. You were shocked to going from Norman Rockwell to, I guess, what was the next stage in your life after the Norman Rockwell situation?
That was going to the television networks in New York.
There you go.
Uh,
Look at that.
no one called somebody and got me an interview, and it went on from there. Then I worked for the three networks in New York, and then I got an offer to move to Houston, Texas, to work on the Alaskan Pipeline project.
Oh, look at that Alaskan pipeline. That's unbelievable. But wait, when you moved to New York to go to NBC and CBS, you were doing storyboards, and then from storyboards, they promoted you into what was the department for those studios? It was like what is it called?
Line production.
No, a scenic development.
Not with the TV studios. No, that was later on.
No, that
That
was
was
later
later
on.
on. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But what I did do, I got to learn how to run studio cameras, and I would fill in on the Today Show for the guy that taught me how to run studio cameras. So I used to film the Today Show.
Wow, look at that. And then from there, from the studios, where did you go? What was your next stop? Because I know that wasn't the last stop. That was just a pit
Well,
stop.
no,
So,
NBC was the first one. Then I went to CBS, and my desk was right across the way from Walter Cronkite. And
whoa,
and
wow, look at that.
we used to produce the storylines and stuff for the commercials for that show. And again, they didn't have large advertising agencies back then like they do now. I mean, they're a dime a dozen. We did everything in house. And then the nightly news with Walter Cronkite was supposed to take place in Arizona. So we went out to Arizona to do that nightly special on CBS with Walter Cronkite, and Walter had a heart attack. So
Oh my God.
he become the nightly news, not the complication went out there for regarding to radiation problems in Arizona. All right, that followed later, but he ended up becoming the nightly news, and I got pictures of the doctor examining him with his chest, with his shirt wide open, listening to his heart. I got pictures of when that happened.
Oh my God. So that's how his career started. He switched over from that to the nightly news because of his condition, is what you're saying, correct?
Well, I got offers because I did know how to run uh, less complicated studio cameras, and what happened, how I got to ride on Air Force One with President Carter, was he was finishing up uh, uh, in New York. He was meeting with the Mucky Mucks for the city of New York to bring a ultra modern monorail system into the city of New York, going all the way up to Albany, type of thing. And at that time, the monorail systems were $1 million a mile. So I met him coming in the hotel and said hello and everything. Glad to see you again. Blah blah blah. And then I went on the balcony to listen to him speak on the stage to the people in the audience in the auditorium. And the Secret Service man stopped me and said, "Sir, where are you going?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to listen to the president talk." He says, "Sir, do you got identification or a pass?" I said, "No." And he goes, "Well, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." I said, "Well, I was just with the president." And he said, "Sir, I'm only going to ask you one more time. You need to leave." And I was shoulder to shoulder with President Carter when I was talking to him before he went on stage, downstage. And I couldn't get up on the balcony to see him in person, watching it. So I left. But that's why I'm saying, uh, no matter how much security happens, people are new to the job, new to the detail, uh, and they try to show off. All right. But he should have called right on the radio and gave him my name and said, "Yeah, Mr. Hillman was just with the president. Let him stay there." He didn't do nothing. He was trying to show his importance and that he wasn't going to be uh, fucked with. All right. And I just left.
Right.
That's fine. I stood downstairs by the men's room and listened to his whole conversation while people were pissing in the bathroom. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on air. I didn't mean to say that. Sorry, people. True
Oh
story.
my
I
God.
can't make this up. It's just hysterical. You know,
Unbelievable. So from that scene, what was your next stop after that? Where did you go from there? Like what happened after
but that was New
Carter?
York. I can get back to when I worked in Houston. I met a lot of interesting people there. Had some interesting events. The first job I got in Houston was making T-shirts for a T-shirt shop on the second floor of the Galleria. All right, and during that, uh, the people at the Westin Hotel had a very elaborate food bar, and you could get fresh food every day. And eventually, I ended up getting a job with them and doing their arrangements for the hotel restaurant for people to go to, and it was open to the public as well. Well, when I was working in the T-shirt shop, Howard Cosell comes in, and I'm going, "Howard Cosell's here," and he goes, "Yeah, I want to get a box of T-shirts." And he gave me all the information. We took it down and we popped those out like overnight, boom, 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 boom. So when he come back, they'd be ready for him and be what he wants. Well, we're sitting there, and lo and behold, who walks out of the restaurant? Muhammad Ali. Now these are
Oh
two
my
people that
God.
hate each other, right? Okay. Well, they played like they hate each other. I don't know the real connection. And I go out and he's got people around me standing between the walkway across the second floor. It was like a bridge, and he's standing there with people around him. And I said, "Ali, your friend just left." He goes, "My friend?" He goes, "Who's that?" I said, "It's Howard Cosell." He says, "That dog, I'd lift my leg and piss on him." Only Muhammad Ali would come up with that. I've never forgot that one.
Oh my God. He
He
actually
said, he's like, "Howard Cosell, my friend." No, he's like a bush that I'd piss on him.
Wow.
Sorry, I forget I'm being recorded. Bleep that out. I urinate on him.
Oh wow. He actually said that?
He actually said that. Everybody was laughing their asses off. All right.
Oh man.
And the next day, Cassell comes back for the box of shirts, and who walks up behind him? Muhammad Ali, because he wanted T-shirts too.
Oh, you can't make this up.
No,
You
I'm
can't
telling
make
you,
this
my
up.
life's been that was a trip. I'll never forget that. That was the funniest thing that's ever happened.
Oh my goodness. What are the odds?
Before
He's getting his T-shirts, ladies and gentlemen, and then Muhammad Ali's right behind him, and I can imagine what did he do when he turned around? Oh shoot! I would have loved to have been there with.
but he just stood there. He looked at me. He goes something like that dog. He goes, well, I'd lift my leg and piss on him.
Oh shoot!
I'd mark
Oh
the
man!
territory, something like that. We were roaring. We were laughing so hard. I wanted to run down the third floor area and find Cassell and tell him what Muhammad Ali said. I did that. I did that to him.
Wait, but Mike, why did Muhammad Ali hated this man so bad? He's like, because it's funny, because I can actually picture his face saying to you, "My friend, who's my friend?"
They were best friends. They insulted. It was all play. I'm sure they did it for drama. That's all. I don't think they were each other. I think it was all a joke between the two of them. An inside joke. That's all.
But that's funny. You went up to him. He says, "Oh, your friend was here. Who's my friend?" And you said the name. He said, "I piss on that dog."
Yeah, he said, I'd lift my leg and piss on that dog. I left all the way back to the door, and Ed said to me, "What are you laughing about?" And I told him what he just said about Cassell, because Cassell had just left. All right, he was out of sight, I guess. And he started laughing too. He goes, "Oh, that's hysterical. That's hysterical."
So, all right. So,
He couldn't figure out why we were all laughing. What did Ali say that made you all laugh so much? That's what he said. Can't make this up, my friend. You can't make it up. It's hysterical.
No, you can't. So after the T-shirt adventure, what was next? What happened next after the T-shirt thing? Where did you go from there?
Well, I'm trying to think. I think that's when I started. That's when I got the job offer to work in the Hal Booty Center. And that was interesting because I was working on the Alaskan Pipeline project, and Michael Halbooty owned the building we were renting, the third floor. And I got to meet him, and I didn't realize, as many times I walked in and out of that building, it says in big bold letters, the Hal Booty Center. Duh. So
Hell booty.
down the third Hal Booty. All right. Now I'll give you the backstory about him. Mike Halbooty was the original man who started Spindletop. He went out to Alaska 3 times and failed, and on the third time he succeeded. He started the oil business, and he's got a book out by Michael Halbooty. He's dead now. He's 92 when he died. It's called Spindletop. You got to read it. It's a fantastic read. It really is. And I got no interest in this book. This is coming from the heart. But I used to come by and he waved to me and he sat in this glass encased front of his office building and just eat his lunch there. And he motioned me in one time. He goes, "I see you walking down the stairs all the time. Are you running for me?" And I said, "Well, who are you?" He said, "I'm the man with the name on the front door." On the,
Wow.
in big letters. "I'm Michael Halbooty." And I go, "Well, I'm glad to meet you, Mr. Halbooty. Big deal. I don't know who you are."
Michael Hell booty.
Right. And then I said, "I don't know who he is. He must be important. He thinks he is." And he said, "I got something for you, son. Why don't you grab a sandwich and come down and have lunch with me tomorrow?" So I go downstairs and he hands me a book, and it's called Spinner Time. And it says, "Life Story of Michael Halbooty." All right. Now, after 3 tries, he started the oil business. He found oil in Alaska.
That's how he did it. Wow. Ain't that something?
This is amazing. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have the oil business. That's how
Holy
important this
crap.
man was. He was history. He made the oil business happen. And they
Wow.
called it Michael Halbooty. Look him up.
Michael Hell booty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully, you're enjoying our new show, and let's get right back into it. So, from Michael Hell Booty segment, where do you go from Michael Hell Booty? Because that the name just
Yeah,
cracks me
yeah.
up.
After that, that was when I belonged to the Estonian and met the people from the film industry and met the
That's
vice
how you got
president
into it.
of production from Paramount. And we hit it off for 3 days. And when he left, he said, and he called me kid. I guess I was a kid back then to them. Uh, uh, he said, "You ever get out to California? Look me up. I'll give you a job." And
Wow.
I would say about a month later, the oil got hit in Houston, and they weren't diversified into high tech technology back then. They finally diversified, and they're doing fine. But they were buying houses. Houses went up for sale, and people left like it was some kind of a infection or something. And people were buying houses on their credit card. It was horrible. So I
Oh,
said,
wow.
"Well, Randy, it's time to go out to California." And I went out to California, and things started happening real well. And I started doing odd jobs for Paramount, like building caves and all that kind of scenery stuff, crappy stuff. But it was an education. You learned how to use certain tools, certain chemicals, and that kind of stuff. And it would be shown on TV. You know, like you ever hear of a show called 18 Wheels of Justice?
No, I never heard of that. No.
Well, it's about a trucker who drives a truck that has 18 wheels, but he was sort of like a private investigator type guy. All right. And I worked on that show. Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas worked on that show. A lot,
Renegade. I remember Renegade.
yeah, yeah. And I went to the christening of Lorenzo's child and met his wife and the child, had pictures taken with him, you know. So I met a lot of cool people.
Well, let me ask you this. What so from all of that, you didn't like LA. So you left LA, right? You
I
didn't
was
stay
in
there.
San Diego for at least
Okay.
37 years, off and on.
Right.
I always come back to it. I love San Diego. Best weather in the world, best people in the world. I love it. Uh, so I would, if I got an issue that I had to go to LA for more than 3 days, I'd do it. And then the second that day was over, my last day, I was gone. I was back to San Diego. Didn't want anything to do with LA. Hated it. And I would always try to get scenic jobs or jobs outside of LA, on location. I'd take any location job I could get. I don't care how screwy the weather is. I didn't give a shit. I just wasn't in LA. I mean, and to me, LA just gave me the chills. It was evil. I could just feel evil in LA. I just hated it. I liked a lot
Isn't
of the
that
people and
something?
a lot of the talented people. I loved a lot of the directors, a lot of very cool people. They're not all ugly demons, all right. But there's a lot of shit that goes on that people shouldn't be exposed
You,
to or have to go through that to get a job. So
it's
that's
kind
the story. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of interesting you say that. Mel Gibson feel the same way about LA. So when he first got there, so it was
Well,
kind
they
of
screwed Mel Gibson left and right. They
yeah,
they did
yeah,
a
they
number
did.
on him. They really did. He's a cool guy. Mel
Yeah, he
Gibson's a
is. He
very
really
cool guy.
is.
Yeah.
So what happened with the Silver Hotel? How was that about? What was all that about? The Silver
The
Hotel.
what now?
The Silver Hotel.
Legacy Hotel, Silver
Yeah,
Legacy
Legacy.
Hotel.
Yeah, yeah. I call it
Yeah,
Silver Hotel. Yeah.
yeah. Well, that was the one that was a $3 million job we had to have done in 3 days in up in Utah, in Salt Lake City area, and we were coming from Las Vegas because that was our base. I was living in Vegas then, and they remodeled the Silver Legacy to the interior was like an old time 1700 warship type of nautical look. All right. But the silver mine was put there for whatever reason they wanted a silver mine because of the Big Bertha and the animation involved, that kind of thing. So we worked on that, and that's when the guy I was working with, we were at a hotel, and he went out in the desert and met people or whatever. They did peyote. He come back with a gun. Where he got the gun from, I don't know. And he was so spiritual. He wanted to go see God, and he wanted to take me with him. I was not ready to go see God that night. I didn't want to do that.
Okay.
So
You
we
said
spent
maybe
half the
next
night
week.
him playing Russian roulette with my head and thinking about shit. We're at the upper level of the motel. My car was parked on the lower level, right in front of where our stairwell was to go down to the coffee shop that was to the right of us. And so he starts coming out of his condition, whatever you want to call it. And I said, Jeff, come on, I'm thirsty for coffee. I'm sure you want something to drink too. Why don't we go down to the coffee shop? He says, yeah, okay. And so he walks in front of me with the gun in his hand. I'm walking behind him. I could have pushed him down the stairs if I want. But I didn't.
Wow.
I said, Jeff, you don't need that gun. Why don't you just give it to me? He goes, oh, okay. He turns around and hands me the gun. We get down to the bottom of the steps. My car's there. I go lock the gun in the trunk. And then we go have coffee and go back and finish the job before we went back to Las Vegas.
Unbelievable.
Can't make this up.
No, you can't. So,
But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there.
oh,
By that time, his mother flew in from Connecticut, and he was a psycho and was bipolar and schizophrenic and all that. All right, so we're sitting with his mother in the apartment I shared with two other people on the second floor, and here comes this car ripping into the driveway with two state police behind him, sirens blaring. It's him. He gets out of the car, turns it around so he's facing out towards the road so he could get out quick. He turns around and comes upstairs with another gun. Now he's going to kill me.
oh my
Oh,
God.
and I didn't get to the point first. This happened first. His mother runs downstairs, and he hears the sirens. All right. Well, he's going to come up and kill me, but his mother told me all about. He never got upstairs. But what happens was he gets out of the car. He hears the sirens. He gets back in the car. His mother grabs the handle of the car, and he rips out of the driveway, pulling his mother on the ground, holding onto the handle. Now the cops go wherever the fuck they end up catching him at. They bring him back to Las Vegas, put him in an institution, you know, and then they take him in front of a judge, two marshals, take him in front of a judge, and they send him back handcuffed with two marshals back to Connecticut to put him in an institution. Never heard from him since.
Wow.
And that was all
It,
because I just wanted to do scenic work.
I bet. Well, wow, that's really interesting to get somebody put a gun on you like that and had all these mental issues, and pretty much you thought you were going to see God that day, and not seeing your life flash before your eyes. What was your?
I was sure of it. And the funny thing was, which I forgot was important, is that my boss called from Las Vegas and he was mamby-pamby, always worried about everything. He goes, everything going on right? Because he knew it was $3 million we had to have it done next day. Oh, yeah. He's going crazy because of the money stuff. And there was other
Wow.
things going on. And he goes, everything okay? Absolutely not. Just unbelievable. No. He goes, okay, Randy, talk to you tomorrow. Hang up on me. That was my lifeline getting out of there before we went downstairs.
That's
Can't make this
insane.
up, my friend. I can't even write a script like this.
No, you can't. No, I mean, I think anybody in that situation would probably shit and piss in their pants. I mean, my God,
I, I,
nobody.
I was very quiet, very, really thinking I'm not going to be here too much.
Wow. Well, let me.
And especially when he put the gun on my head and cocked it and then pulled the trigger and it didn't go off. That's a
Wait a
horrible
minute.
feeling. I don't know how
Wait,
that to anybody. It's like
wait.
time stops.
Wait, hold on. You telling me he actually pulled the gun up to your head, cocked
And
it
pulled
back, pulled it,
three different
and it didn't go off?
didn't go off.
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
even know if he had bullets in it at that time. I didn't see inside the gun. I couldn't see bullets. All right, and it was never put in my eye contact where I could look down the barrel or into the chamber because it was a revolver. that I could see if there was a bullet. And I never looked right at it like that. I stayed very away from staring down that gun for two reasons. I didn't want him to get nervous and shoot by accident, or actually just get scared enough that I was going to do something and he was going to put me out of my misery. Put it that way.
Wow, that's intense. So let me ask you, I heard through the grapevine that you were part of the Titanic film.
It was a good grapevine, good grapes too. Yes, most interesting movie I could ever experience. And right after that movie, I retired to take care of my 93-year-old father. So it worked out really good.
Oh,
That is an
wow.
experience in itself, and I will share it with others in time, or you can read it in my book coming out.
Oh,
I
yes.
have two
Tell
books coming out. Yeah.
well, tell everybody out there, tell the fans out there, what, the title of your book, what your book is, little synopsis
Well,
of what it's about.
the title of my book is From the Poorhouse to the White House.
Wow.
And
From the
I've
poorhouse
worked
of
with,
my hands. Okay.
and that's because I've worked with four presidents of the United States, been in the Air Force One, know everybody within that element of time that I worked in Washington in the government. All right. And the other book is A Journey Through Central Intelligence. Courage and Honor Are Illusions. Randall
Wow.
L. Hillmeyer. When
So,
security crumbles, we find courage.
well, ladies and gentlemen, two awesome titles. And we just have to wait and see. We're anticipating it and full of suspense. I mean, my
Pretty
God,
soon.
wow.
I hope we wrap everything up in the next couple of weeks. I got that in place. Hopefully, the one book will be produced.
That is amazing. Congratulations, Randy. Um, all right, everyone. Well, I just wanted to say thank you everyone for watching the show, and I'm so happy and glad we got to have the famous Randy Hillman on our show. Who's
Please.
been,
I like everybody else. I go to the same bathrooms and smell the same. Maybe I shouldn't say that.
well,
Don't go here, my friend. I put that in the top zone. I do it and enjoy it. And I love people, and if I can help other people, I will be more than gladly to give them advice if they take it.
well, you could take the horse to the well, but you can't make the horse drink. But as long as you share your inspirational thoughts and magnificent journey which you have. I mean, man, I tell you, that's quite a journey. It was leading one place to another place to another place to another
Yeah,
place.
and the
You know,
amazing thing about that, JR, is that I was brought in contact with many different elements that in my age group and in what I was about. I'm going to say I was isolated, but I was pretty naive when I was younger. Uh, when when uh, when HIV hit, I lived in a complex in Houston that was huge. It had a double-sized swimming pool, had 350 units, and about 40% of it were homosexuals. And
wow.
everybody got along. Everybody got along good. And I made a lot of friends because I like people. I'm not the judge. I don't judge as long as they they do their thing with other people that do the thing. I'm okay with it. Uh, and that's their business. I don't get into that. But I met a lot of people and we made friends and we used to have parties out there every weekend. And we just had tons of people from the complex. We didn't even have to invite people over. We just had them over. But when HIV hit, uh, I went to 17 funerals in a month.
Wow, 17. Wow.
17 funerals in a month.
Jeez.
So
That's
things
something.
open your eyes that you don't expect, but you have to be associate. It has to be brought to your attention. You have to walk in their shoes in regards to the problems involved in something such as that. You can make all the speculations in the world, like I've said before, but unless you check and verify and get the truth, you're listening to other people's BS. You don't know if it's real or not. but people will believe what they want to believe. But I've always been a person, like I said before to you, my mother's from Missouri. You got to prove everything to her, and that's I
Believing is
picked
seeing.
that up from my mother. Prove it to me first. I'll take your speculation and I honor you for that, but I won't necessarily believe all of it till I find the truth. And I will seek out the truth and I will find it. Then I'll believe what has to be said.
Believing is seeing. Well, everyone, you just heard that from Randy Hillman. Again, we look forward to updates on your book, Randy. It was again, it was a pleasure having you here on Up Close, our new
Well,
segment, spin
it's an
off
honor
from
to
Make That
be,
Bloody Movie. What?
and sorry to interrupt you, but it's an honor to be chosen this way. And I wish you all the success in the new podcast, which I know it will be. Because you're doing everything right in your career and you're doing it with love and respect for the career and with others involved in it. So it's been a pleasure meeting you and becoming friends with you and Kim. So thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome, Randy, and thank you for being with us. Again, your spiritual journey has really captivated my heart and soul, and I can't wait to hear more stories from you. And read that book, ladies and gentlemen. It's really going to be. I mean, Randy hasn't given us any Easter eggs about it, but I'll tell you one thing. So far, you heard some of his stuff. Could you only imagine what he's going to put in the book? Well, we just got to wait and see.
I I just
Well,
hit the tip of the iceberg.
okay. All right.
I mean,
Well,
there's
stay
so
tuned.
much stuff. You can't believe one individual has done this in their life. But I have all the proof in the world. I'll prove it to you. That's all I can say to you. What you want to believe about it, I'm not going to embellish on anything. I'm going to tell you what happened, when it happened, why. That's it. You decide whether you believe it or you think it's horse manure. I
That's
don't.
awesome. That's
I mean,
awesome.
I, Jimmy Hoff almost killed my family because my father was a union rep and wouldn't let him take over the union for Nabisco. Instead, he killed my father's best friend, which was his business
Oh,
partner.
wow.
Or not his best friend. He didn't kill him. He killed the wife. They set out to bomb the house because they're both named Henry. My father's friend's name Henry. My father's name is Henry. But the day they rejected uh, the idiot, uh, the next day they blew up his house and killed his wife. So I got plenty of
Jeez,
stories to tell. You ain't heard anything
man. Well,
yet.
hang in there, Randy. We're gonna segue out, and then we're gonna end the show. So again, everyone, thank you for joining us on Up Close. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and music as well. It's also a very wonderful music. Check him out. I'll be putting in information to his YouTube page. He makes all these soundtracks and stuff. Really cool guy. All right, everyone, take care, and we're signing out.